Hey everyone, it's finally here, episode 4 of our prologue episodes. I'm Nate, the DM for this campaign called Knights and Shining Armor, sort of finally an outlet of our Knights at the Nerd Table podcast, which you can find out super topical, super fun. You've hopefully are a true fan and listened to 3 episodes already. This is the 4th of our prologue episodes, and I get to introduce one of my good lifelong friends, Mr. Ethan Steifel. Ethan Steifel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Lifelong friend and huge fan of the podcast myself, so I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Exactly. I would agree. Lifelong, and this is what's funny, and this is a similar story to a similar instance with my friend Andrew, and that's just one of the reasons why I love nerd stuff, is because I grew up talking to Ethan, like, if we were lucky, once a year for a long time at camp, at summer camp, and life goes on, and your summer camp friends you do try to stay in touch with sometimes, but most of the time doesn't always work out, but we did a pretty good job throughout high school of staying in touch.
You played at my open house, your band.
My rock and roll band played a show at his open house. It's super true. But also, like, years go by, and nerdiness finds a way. Life finds a way, but also nerdiness finds a way. And Ethan has become a fan of D&D, and we connected over it and kind of swapped some stories every now and again. But when I had heard sort of his projects and some of the characters that he built, I was like, I wanna see what he's up to. I want to see if he can hop in on this cast, because he is a very creative player. He's super fun storyteller. Honestly, just like the kind of fun D&D player you want at your table. So I guess this is a pitch if you're in the Ohio area and you need some fun at your table. Maybe give this guy a shout. But he is an absolute blast to play with, and I just knew I had to get my boy Ethan on this cast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've done one session with you before, and it is an awesome time having you as a DM, so I'm very excited.
It's true. To my close personal friends, Ethan plays a character that you have not yet met in our campaign, which is a completely other different story. So if you are brave enough and a true friend enough to be listening to this, just know that Ethan will make an appearance at our table at some point as well. But let's get into this pod. Let's drop hot into it. I have really enjoyed these sessions. So as I like to say in my table, Mr. Ethan, let's tell a story.
Let's do it.
It all comes down to this moment. The other competitors had very strong showings. The what you might even call opening acts to your performance. Especially that Marvo the Magnificent character. He had quite the display of prowess and poise, and some might even call it showmanship. But everything that you have is riding on this moment. I need you to give me a thrown dagger attack roll with disadvantage.
Whatever this is, I will not let him steal my name. Let's see. That would be a 19.
19. Fantastic. Dagger goes. You can hear the sound of a dagger hitting wood. Fantastic. Do it again.
11.
11. The second dagger flies through the air, and you hear not the sound of it hitting wood, but instead the sound of it tearing into flesh. A blood-curdling scream cries out, "Ah!" And you can hear around the room the sound of a crowd in shock and awe, fear, and disgust. You can now take off your blindfold. What you see is this. You are on a stage. To your left is a crowd of people watching you. To your right is the rest of the stage, and straight ahead of you is a volunteer who raised his hand when you called upon a need for a volunteer, and he now is screaming and bleeding from his chest as you have just accidentally thrown a dagger on the pinwheel of doom, which is supposed to be a skill and trick with a grand finale ending, but at this moment in time has gone horribly, horribly wrong, and you have lodged a dagger center chest of him. The crowd begins to panic. Some people scream. What seems to be the people he came with start rushing to the stage, along with some other stage hands. What would you like to do in this situation?
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, this was all part of the act. Give our volunteer a round of applause. Yeah, thank you. Please, no, he's fine. Leave him there. He's totally fine. This was all part of the plan. Trust me, it's all good.
The stagehand runs to him and starts casting some sort of healing spell on him, while another very well-dressed person enters towards you and begins screaming at you. Are you insane? You just stabbed that man. That's not a trick. That's not part of your act. You almost killed him. What are you doing?
I didn't come even close to a vital organ or artery. He's fine. You're blowing this way out of proportion.
Oh my gosh. And with a flick of his wrist and a snap of his fingers, the dagger in the center of this man's chest begins to disintegrate, and golden glitter sparks kind of fill the air. He says, once again, Marvel the Magnificent will have to step in and save the day. No, make no mistake, I don't do this to win this competition we're in. No, this is simply something I must do to save a life. A woman swoons in the crowd upon hearing this, and the dagger does dissipate into like a golden dust, and he walks up, pushes the stagehand out of the side, and with another flick of his wrist, sticks his hand through the man's chest, and the crowd can see his hand on the back of the Wheel of Doom, and he flutters his wrist again, and now he's holding a bouquet of flowers, and he seems to pull it out of the man's chest. It looks like it gets stuck, and then finally pulls it out of his chest in holding a dove. The dove flies away, and the man's chest is completely healed, and he turns to the crowd, and he takes a magnificent bow. He says, I am Marvel the Magnificent, simply here to help, and the crowd cheers for him.
Is the stagehand still next to me?
Yes.
What is he doing? Marvel the Magnificent? My name is Margus the Magnificent, and he's going to take my name? We talked about this. We had to submit our names. How did you get the two wrong? This is insane.
He says, submit names? Getting wrong? You're disqualified. You just tried to kill a man right here on stage.
He's fine. Look at him. He's smiling. He got flowers.
He's fine now.
I don't see what the problem is.
The man gets off the stage and he looks at you. Now you're kind of realizing how big this volunteer really is. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Let's see. 12.
He just looks like a big guy. But he points at you and he says, you? It's my turn. And he turns around,
No.
pulls the dagger off the wheel that you had missed with, and he begins to charge at you.
That one didn't hit you.
He is closing the gap fast. What would you do?
I would like to attempt to cast Minor Illusion.
Okay.
And just have some smoke puff up from around my feet and get my weirdly elongated like string bean of a body to try to duck down underneath the smoke and try to dip off stage.
Yep, so minor illusion. Let me see. I'm gonna let this guy roll a perception
Okay.
to see if he can because he's just running straight. So if you're just ducking, then he's gonna keep running straight, but he might not
Yeah, I'm gonna duck. I'm gonna duck behind the smoke
Okay.
and just in a ball.
So he rolls in that one. So he just kind of stops and he's just in shock and awe at the smoke, and sort of trips a little bit, just trying to move it out of the way with his hand, just trips a little bit and kind of falls knocked prone next to you. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna try to sprint past him to get off stage.
Go ahead.
And
so
just
you,
try to jump over him if I need to.
Yep. So you just start moving off stage. As you do, other patrons in the crowd begin to join in, and what was at one point a calm, on-looking crowd is quickly turning into a violent mob, and a couple people jump the stage and start chasing after you, following you backstage. As you,
Marlo, can you help me out, please? We're friends, right?
Marvo is simply just bowing, as he bows and realizes what's going on stage, he simply just walks to help the man who just fell. Here's what you see kind of when you get backstage. It's pretty clear. I mean, this isn't a super elaborate theater. Honestly, capacity is only around 65, so it's not super big. So as you get backstage, you see other trunks and other trinkets, other signs. You see a few people looking at you in shock and awe as to what's going on. If you were to continue on straight, there does seem to be sort of an exit where what would be considered a backstage loading area would be for the acts or whatever would be performing at any given time would be entering and exiting, sort of a private exit and entrance that way. To your right would be more dressing room areas and where other people are.
I want to try to duck out of view if I can for even just a moment.
Yep.
Of at least the people from the stage.
Sure.
The people backstage I'm not as worried about.
Yeah. So there are lots of big trunks around, and also giant props for other magical acts from other magicians entering this competition that you are in. So if you want to try to quickly hide around there, go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Okay. 3.
Perfect. There is a crowd of people following you. You quickly flutter your cape around and duck behind what appears to be a wall. And as someone runs past you, they stop and they turn and they look, and the wall you hid behind wasn't a wall, it was just a mirror. So now they just see you twice as easily. There he is, chase after him. And two medium-sized guys, not quite, they're they say that they're 6'1", that's about how tall they are, the guys like that. So they start kind of rushing towards the mirror. As you in that area, you still have a pretty good view of kind of the backstage area. So still on your right are the dressing rooms. Still on your left is the exit entrance area.
Okay. I want to adjust my top hat and look both ways and just try to book it to the exit.
All right. So you make it to the exit. Do you are you just running in a dead sprint? Are you trying to do anything to delay them, or
is there anything I can just right now just tumble in the way?
Absolutely, tons of
kind
stuff.
Of slow them
tons
down.
Of stuff.
Some of the props or racks of clothing or whatever, just to topple in the way.
Yep.
To try to,
so
to
what
get
I'll
to the door.
say is you doing that makes it difficult terrain for them behind, so they will all move at half speed, so give you a little more time. So you head towards the exit. You kind of bust open the door. There's sort of a stagehand in the back, sleeping, just kind of snoozing with a he probably should be working, doing something, but he's clearly not. You see several kind of little carts or hand carts. One in particular stands out. Actually, you know what? Give me a perception check. That's probably what I should have said. Give me a perception check.
Nat 1.
Okay, so
it was out of 13, and
Here's what I'll
that
say. As you bust out the door, there are several carts. You don't really see them and like take them in, but you do just run headfirst into Marvo the Magnificent's stagecoach. He has quite a big stagecoach. As you do run into that, you bump into the side, and the door, seemingly unlocked, cracks open a little bit as you hear voices coming from behind you.
I would like to. Can they see me yet, or
Nope,
are they still coming?
they cannot
through
see
the door?
you.
I would like to cast disguise self and make myself look like Marvo the Magnificent next to
Awesome.
his stagecoach as
Awesome.
quickly as I can.
Awesome. Perfect.
So instead of my slicked back greasy hair and poorly styled mustache on my gangly body with my suit that's a little bit too small, what do I look like now?
So you look like Marvo, which is a long, beautifully refined, curled mustache.
Of course
but
it is.
perfect symmetry on each side of his face. He has a goatee. His hair is also slicked back, but it's weird because like you've seen it and you've seen him before, and you've kind of tried to model your hair after him, but his just
No,
looks
he just to be clear,
pristine.
he models after me.
Right, sorry.
Pretty
You
obvious.
you operate knowing that he models after you, but what's frustrating is his hair just parts so well and slicks in like these columns that just look so dapper.
It defies the laws of physics. I don't get it.
Yes,
It's ridiculous.
Exactly. He wears a long black coat with a brilliant black bow tie, black vest, and a pristine white shirt, which is also frustrating because you know several elements of his act involve just various liquids and dirt and things like that, but that white shirt always stays as pristine as his
So-
white magician's
so
gloves.
pristine.
And that's the appearance that you take.
Okay, come on, Caligula, you can pull this off. All right, and I kind of standing at the stagecoach, trying to get in,
Yep.
and but in case they come out.
Yep. So these two brutes kind of get out and say, "Oh, Marvo," and for them, it's not illogical for Marvo to be out here now because he is an incredible magician. And so they say, "Marvo, what did you see? Which way did he go? What way did he go?"
Do I know what accent does he have? Marvel have?
He has a very he speaks a very common in this area you would consider no accent.
Okay.
He speaks in sort of a Midwest, kind of like he sounds like a nasally 5'8", 5'7", honestly 5'6", short bearded youth pastor man.
Oh, I can picture exactly what that sounds like.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I want to try to mimic that and say, he went that way and point down the alley to try to get them in my best
Six
accent.
elder dragons descend on you for that impersonation. Just kidding.
No, that was perfect. That's spot on. All right.
So they turn and they bolt down that way. They get to the end of the alleyway, and the two of them kind of look at each other and then split off, going in opposite directions. You do hear other voices seeming to follow them, kind of still inside. However, what would you like to do?
I want to. Is the carriage driver like there on the carriage?
So at the sound of this talking, all of a sudden a very old halfling kind of Mr. Marvo, yes. Sorry, I didn't get the door. One moment, sir. He hops down, gets the door for you. All right, this way, Mr. Marvo. Wherever you'd like to go, I'll be taking you today.
Thank you very much. I actually just want to circle the block a few times
Sure.
and come back. I left some things here I'm going to want to pick up later,
Right.
but just kind of need to clear my head after a fantastic performance.
Oh, obviously, Mr.
no.
Marvo, you have one of the best performances on all the land.
I hope to be. I hope to be as good as that Margus the Magnificent. He's pretty impressive. But yeah, yes. I'm okay. I'm getting better. I think. Thank you. I appreciate that.
He slowly looks
Away!
at you and he says, "Bah, always the jokester, Mr. Marvel. I've heard you talk about that fool several times. Okay, I will go twice around the block for you, Mr. Marvel. Right away, right away." And he hops up and hurry up. The two beautiful looking horses, absolutely majestic hair looking horses, also completely black except for their manes are pristine white, begin to gallop away, and you are now just sitting inside. It's a carriage, but it seems bigger than it should be, and it's not just a place to sit, but there are trunks and drawers and shelves of all kinds of magical trinkets. If you want to do an investigation or a perception or...
Yeah, I'd love to look for anything that I think is of value for him that I can take. Absolutely.
All right, absolutely. Go ahead and give me... do an investigation check.
Okay. It's cocked. It's the same exact one. Okay. Investigation. -2. 7.
Yeah, your character sucks. You really... Everything that you see doesn't make sense to you. There are bouquets of flowers. Now, those are magical props, but you're just like, that's weird. He just has a bunch of flowers here, a bunch of mediocre magic wands, of course. What idiot would need magic wands for their act? But if you were have to roll higher, you would know that these are of quite value. However, you didn't. So, the one thing does stand out to you, though. It's a very pristine chest. It says, "Do not open," and it's not very big, but it does catch your eye. Even, let me put it this way, even a blubbering fool would see this small chest here in this grand arsenal of magical items.
It's a good thing I'm no blubbering fool. I would like to try to open it, obviously.
Yep. It's not locked or anything. So
Okay.
you pop it open and you see 2 small scrolls there.
Ha ha ha! What do we have here? And I would like to grab them and pocket one of them for now. I want to, while we're taking a couple rounds, I don't have anything better to do. I like to look at them and see what they say.
Yeah. So you can read them pretty easily. The first one that you open is right when you open it, you get the heebie-jeebies. You, despite your entertainment background, you do have some historical connection to powerful magics, good magics and bad magics. This, even just feeling it, just feels bad. You can start kind to make out some of the ritualistic words, and you can pick out some of it from your school days. Exchange is a word written in a dark, evil language. You catch the word exchange, you catch the word power, you catch the word absolute, but you also catch words like death and famine, disease, like things like that like, first of all, they're not entertaining. Second of all, it just feels like bad juju magic.
Mm-hmm. But importantly, the power and the...
Yes.
This must be where he gets all of his, mediocre talent from. I knew he had a secret.
Seems that way.
Okay. Anything else from this one?
Not from that one,
okay.
but the...
Okay.
As you put the other one in your pocket, the first one you did, that actually feels like a very warm sensation. You start to notice right away.
Okay. The other one, I pull it out.
Yep. So you unroll that, and that one right kind of at the top says Scroll of Awakening. This is written in a completely different language, which you are familiar of, and it is a spell to cast the spell Awaken Creature or Awaken. And the spell, unlike some scrolls, this one has a description, which basically says to a common tongue to awaken the intelligence and exude the prowess of the individual. truly an awakening moment, leading to unknown levels of intelligence and wisdom.
I knew it. I knew that idiot could not be this good. He must be using these. Um, driver, back to the hall. Immediately!
So he
I
kind of
want to get back. Tuck him away in my pocket.
reins in the brakes and it makes a sharp UE, even though you're not supposed to do that here in the city, and just kind of trots back towards the. He asks, back to the loading dock, sir, or around the front entrance.
The back. Let's go to the back. The back entrance. Yeah. Yes, the back.
As you approach the back, you can kind of hear from outside of the carriage still a lot of commotion, and you hear from the driver, Mr. Marvel? What are you doing out there? I thought you were... I'm quite confused.
Is there only one door to this carriage? Is there any other?
There's a door on each side.
Okay. I would like to... what time of day is it, by the way? Is it evening time, I assume?
It's sort of the dusk and evening. The
Okay.
evening performance showing of the Battle of the Hands Magician Edition event was taking place sort of towards dusk evening. Get people time to get there after work, but not so late that, it's not a family. You can't bring the whole family,
Okay. I'd like to take out one of my pockets of my thing while I'm still in the carriage. Take out some ashes of burned leaf and rub them together and into the air around the carriage and cast Pass Without a Trace on myself.
Nice.
And try to get out of the back, the opposite door of the carriage from where the door is, so I can sneak down and try to get in through the loading dock without being seen.
Absolutely. What we'll do is the camera sort of has a backwards view of the carriage, and as the driver and Marvo the Magnificent open the door, you're just closing the door on the other side, and they kind of peek around and peek their heads in and have no idea what's going on, and you're able to slip out the other side. However, you do at this point, I believe, still look like Marvo, unless you've changed your appearance at all.
I do. I will drop back into... I'll drop disguise self.
Okay.
But still hoping to stealth so nobody sees me at all.
Yep.
And try to get back through into my into the dressing room where I left my things.
Yep. Go ahead and make a stealth check. With Pass Without Trace, you don't make it with advantage. You just add an absurd number to it, right?
Yeah, 14. Gosh. Gotta switch that dice out.
Your character's terrible.
I'm rolling pretty bad.
So you roll a 14, which is still pretty good. Most of the people in the crowd, a couple people kind of like see you and they don't make a ruckus, but they can't quite like put their finger on it. So they just kind of maybe start trying to move through the crowd kind of in your direction, but not like they're not chasing you. They're just maybe... I feel like, is that him? And they just kind of start moving closer to that way, towards you. And you can see them doing this, so you can kind of act or react accordingly. And you have a decent amount of time before they would be able to get to you, too.
Okay. At this point... where am I? Am I still in like the loading dock area, or am I kind of back up close to backstage?
Yeah, so a lot of this kind of happened in the street on the approach to the loading dock area, which is sort of on the side of the theater itself. So you're kind of in the main busy street as the commotion outside the theater has approached the carriage and is starting to fill around the carriage, while a couple other people, more of the head-on-a-swivel types, are still trying to look for that guy who killed their friend or almost killed their friend.
Okay. While I have Pass Without a Trace, I'm just making sure that's concentration, okay, but I would actually, they've kind of seen me anyways, right? A little bit, like they kind of know I'm coming.
Yep.
So I don't really have a choice. I'm going to have to drop pass out a trace, and I just want to cast darkness in like the entrance area where everyone's seeing me.
Yeah.
And then just try to like kind of blindly slip through to try to get past them, because I want to get back to where I left my things.
Yep.
And have some privacy with my personal effects backstage if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So you cast darkness, and a big uproar is caused. People, it's a little bit of both. Some people are like, "Whoa, what's going on?" A lot of people just think that this is somehow a part of Marvo's like act, or like maybe he's about to do something. It's kind of like a moment in theater where something big happens, and you're like, "Wait, is that part of the show, or is that like not part of the show? Like, what's actually happening?" Just a ton of awkward, nervous tension in it around the darkness, and you can, if you would like to, just simply walk around it, or you can try to navigate through it, but obviously that would be very difficult.
Yeah, I'll try to go around it, but I don't want anybody to see me. So if anybody's going to see me, I'd rather dive into the dark chaos and try to, I won't be able to see, but try to get my way through. So I guess I'll just kind of keep an eye out if anybody's going to see me as I try to get closer to try to get past them.
I'll definitely say like the one or two people that maybe thought they had a beat on you are definitely like now just obstructed by this darkness, and you can, with all the commotion, you can pretty simply, as long as you don't do anything now to like draw attention to yourself, it wouldn't be too difficult for you to just kind of walk through the front door of the event center, or sneak kind of back again into that back alleyway. They're very the alleyway faces the same direction as the front door.
Okay, I might squeeze through the front door and just try to look as nonchalant as I possibly can, and just walk in like and go try to go that way to head back to the changing rooms.
Totally fine. The door is open, as it's been propped open because of all the commotion. You kind of enter through the front. The first thing you see is sort of a wall, very beautiful for what it is, very ornate, or attempting to be. You see two doors, one on the left and one on the right, double wooden doors. They are both open, and easily you can see and peer in and see that that's the theater. So there are seats that go down towards the stage.
Okay. Did I have a private room here to get ready in?
You do not have a private room. Everyone, most everyone, just had to get ready backstage, where all those props and chests and big suitcases and things like that were.
Is that where I would have left my things? Would I have left Fluffy?
Yep, you absolutely would have left things and any props or animal companions that you had back there.
Yeah, I want to get back there as fast as possible.
Sure.
So, I mean, I know we're out of combat, but like if I can like dash, it just is. Even if I'm on the balcony, if I like jump down, if I need to,
sure.
To get there, I just want to get backstage.
On the floor level, absolutely you can. I'm just gonna roll a luck check to see if any lingers. No, really, really easily. Most everyone has either tried to follow you out the back alley or exited the front doors, just knowing that something was off and wrong, and whatever's happening is probably good now. So you can head towards the stage. You can go jump the stage, get up, and turn the same corner. And this time it's not dark. A lot of torches have been lit and things in the back to light up backstage, as clearly the whole thing has gone awry, and the show is over. So there's maybe like just like normal well-lit room is what it looks like.
Okay. I want to just, if I don't have privacy here, I want to just grab my stuff and get out. And I want to get to a place where I can have a little bit of privacy, even for a moment.
Yep.
If that's okay.
Absolutely. So, there is the backstage area, which you didn't have your own room, but there is the backstage area. And you can.
Is anybody there right now? Or is like... I expect people to come back probably after the commotion ends, so maybe I want to grab my stuff to get out of there.
You can definitely go look to see if anyone is over there, or you can just try to get out of Dodge. That's totally up to you.
Okay. I'm a little nervous all the commotion. I'll grab my things, try to get Fluffy, and try to get everything that I can and try to get out and get somewhere more safe for myself.
Awesome. Describe to me what Fluffy looks like as you pick that cage or kennel up with whatever.
Yep. pick up my little wooden kennel. Fluffy is sandy. Would have loved to get a white one, but whatever. Sandy kind of colored rabbit that I use for my stage acts, and really, he's my only friend. So, I grab him, and he's just so cute. That's Fluffy. I love him, and I grab him and grab whatever. I probably didn't have much else, but anything, and I just try to cartoonish magician.
Yeah.
High step, sneak out if I can. Try to get somewhere safe.
Like the good old days. Exit stage left, and you just
exactly.
Do you want to try to go out back through the back alley, or?
I think I want to go back the way I came out the front, so that and just try to get out of here.
You make your way back towards the front, and as you exit the front door, you can see Marvo the Magnificent on top of his stagecoach, just wowing the crowd, and he's saying things like, "You were promised a show, here you go," and just absolutely like killing it, just sparklers and pyrotechnics, and just the crowds and oohs and ahs. And
I know your secrets now, and soon I will be back to take my vengeance in my place as the best magician. You mark my words. Not Greg. Margus the Magnificent will take his name back. And I shuffle up my cloak and try to sprint off into the night.
Give me a performance check to see how cool that looks. There's one little boy watching you.
Hey, I don't need a performance check. I know I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? That would be a 13.
Nice. It looks really cool. One little kid not looking at Marvo is like, wow. And you head off down the alleyway. Where are you headed?
I want to go like to my home or somewhere like I want to go back to my place so I can have some privacy, look at these scrolls and
absolutely.
And
so you head on home, and home for you is in the lower class area of this town. You have a one-room apartment that you rent from a very cute little old lady who is very forgetful, which works out for you because you haven't paid rent in some time. So you just, every time she confronts you about it, you can just, oh no, I already paid, So like that's so she just thinks that you've been paying even though you haven't. So which works out. So you have a little kind of one
Mrs.
room.
Popovich, she's the best. She's so sweet. I love her.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a wonderful, sweet old lady.
I actually, when I walk by her, I pull out one of the flowers, just the props that I took from his carriage. Not that were magical or anything, but just and give it to her like I thought of it, even though I really wanted it for my act.
Yep.
I was gonna give it to her.
And you've done this before. She actually puts it in a vase, not realizing it's a fake flower, and has just always had this beautiful vase of like these prop flowers just in the center of her dining room table in water. So they just always bloom so beautifully.
Only the best for you, Mrs. Popovich.
You must be truly a wonderful magician. Which
I really am.
Yeah, she strikes a chord in your heart because, she believes you are amazing. So you enter your one-room apartment, and it's like, I wouldn't even call it a studio. There is a medium room, but everything's in there. Your bed's in there, several dressers, props everywhere, or a table, a half-sawn table, what appears to be the wonders of like a half hair-brained idea that wasn't quite completed. All kinds of props, things that look like there might be something there, but I couldn't tell you what it is. Mirrors of all different shapes and sizes, a rack of what maybe would have been elaborate cloaks if they weren't so old and dusty and torn and ripped, and some of them look like they were nice at one point, but now maybe have patches in them, or it's a tough wardrobe, but it's yours. And so you've got a small little cot that you have for a bed, and a little area where you can cook or warm up food. It also is your source of heat for the colder months. No bathroom, so you always have had to be very creative on how you do that, but that is your
my best work. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna go put Fluffy down on like my little nightstand. Um, Fluffy, I got our ticket out of here. I gotta stick my finger. Ah, same exact place as before. That really is getting raw. Oh, but Fluffy, you don't have to be mad anymore because I've got what we need right here. And I pull out the two scrolls. This is the ticket, buddy. We're gonna make it. I will be the best magician, and they will never laugh at me again. I want to throw the rest of my stuff down and pull out the two scrolls, and I want to go right for the awakened scroll.
Yes. All right. Let me pull something up real quick.
I'm guessing Gregory doesn't know like the details of the awakened scroll.
Correct.
Okay.
So, yes. So you pull out the Awaken scroll, which is more typical to the classes of a bard or druid, and is used for various capacities. So you roll open that scroll, and it says you need a couple spell components. The components you would need
yes.
at least about 1,000 gold pieces, or a stone of great value. It's a transmutation spell.
Blah 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 blah.
Blah, blah,
We
blah,
get to
blah,
the
blah.
good stuff. Where's the power and intelligence?
The target gains the intelligence. You kind of pick up that.
Target, yes.
Also gains the ability to speak another language. That sounds really great.
Oh, that could be cool for showmanship and
Yes, yes.
very nice.
Awesome. So that's kind of the rest seem to be logistical things that it's supposed to says something about how smart you already are, but like who cares, you know? It seems it requires a precious gemstone. So you would probably need that.
I'm sure it's maybe the more expensive it is, the more just that much more powerful you'll become. But something's better going to be, is going to work. So is there anything around me that I feel like would just be a good enough substitute to kind of get the ball rolling?
Well, you have the beautiful, beautiful gem encrusted in your magician's hat. However, the spell would, use that gem, and I guess there is a couple of really ornate sort of stage or fake rubies that you have in kind of some of the other costumes and designs that you have that are bigger than the one on your head. Technically, they're not as valuable, but they are bigger.
I definitely don't want to use my ruby. That's a family heirloom. I'll just do the biggest, shiniest one I have.
Sure. So you go
I'll
over
just use
to
that.
like your props and you pick up like another fake piece of glass that's made to look like a ruby. It's not like the ruby on your hat, but I mean they kind of look the same. But it's like with spell components, it's not like someone's fact checking you or anything. So
I'm not
go
really
over-
confident that one of my hats real either. So
Awesome. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you begin to go through this, and there's a price to pay here. This does take 8 hours of a ritual casting time. So you begin the ritual of Awaken, attempting to cast yourself. An hour goes by, still just repeating through the incantation. 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5, 6, 7 hours, and 45 minutes go by, and it looks like the magical energy in the room has slowly and subtly come to a point of a glowing ball. The ball begins to take shape and almost seems to take on some intelligence of its own, almost as if it is the object of the spell attempting to seek its target. Another 5 minutes, 8 hours, 50 minutes, 8 hours, 55 minutes. It's starting to take a more defined spherical shape. It's less sporadic, less chaotic looking, but almost a perfect ball. At 7 hours and 59 minutes, it stands there in front of you and starts to move slowly towards you, almost seeking direction as to where it is supposed to go.
I just close my eyes and let it make me the powerful magician I've always wanted to be.
It floats towards you. You hold up the glass ruby to your head as it begins to press into it, and then starts to back out of it and starts to chaotically move around, almost as if it is trying to find a host. With a minute left in this spell, it begins to move around the room. 58, 57.
Can I try to grab it?
Absolutely. Go ahead and try to grab it. Go ahead and give me a dexterity check.
Okay. Oh my, I have a negative one. That's a 6.
You go and you start reaching out for it, and it just flutters around and starts to move around the room aggressively. I
try to dive for it.
You try to dive for it. Give me an athletics check.
Okay. Athletics. Oh, that's a 11.
That's not bad. You go and it almost feels like you get your hands on it, and it just kind of squeezes out from behind you. But as you dive for it, you run into a bunch of chairs and some books from a desk that you have, and they just fall to the floor. And this thing starts to get more aggressive. 52, 51, 50, 49, and starts zooming around the room. It seems to be solid enough where it starts knocking things over in and of itself. So it starts knocking off books and scrolls and other props that you have, and it is flying around the room. 45, 44, 43, 42. Time is ticking down on the success or failure of this spell.
It's almost like I had the thing in my hand and it wouldn't accept it, right? Like
Correct.
Okay. Fine. I'm gonna take the ruby, my hat, and hold it up and see if I can offer that to it, if it'll work.
So, the ball does seem to catch. It's almost like it gives it that look. It almost gives it attention, and it seems to find the ruby and zooms towards the ruby and starts to press against the ruby on your hat. And then the hat begins to lift. And as you hold on to the hat, it suddenly begins to move. What do you do with the hat?
I toss it.
You toss it. So you throw it to the floor, and the hat doesn't land on the floor, but actually floats and begins going around. You see that it goes to a mannequin that you have and tries to get towards the mannequin, and as it lands above the mannequin, it slowly starts descending on the mannequin.
I grab it off.
Okay.
I don't want it to. Okay. I try to put it on my head.
You attempt to put it down on your head, and you pull. Give me a strength check to see if you can pull this on your head.
14.
You pull it down on your head, and for a moment, you feel the same warm sensation of that was in your pocket when you first put the scroll, except this time it's on your head. What is Gregory's intelligence score?
Intelligence? It's a 4. So -3 bonus to it.
Yeah, so it's a 4. So a 7 down to 4. Awaken requires an intelligence of 3 or less. Mechanically, your character has an intelligence score of 4. So as it does that, it almost seems to turn from a gentle warmth to a searing heat, and sort of almost in its way explodes off of your head. Everything around your room is now tipped over or flowing around in chaos. 17, 16, 15, 14, and the hat just tumbles, and finally falls into a corner. You can see it pulse with every second that goes by. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and as it lands in a pile of rubble, a bright light emerges from the rubble. And then nothing. Silence.
What?
Failure.
No.
Another attempt at a grand trick that has failed in accordance at your hands.
Gregory is, he's furious. Maybe my parents were right. My only friend is a rabbit. Doesn't even really like me, I don't think. No! No, I refuse to believe it. I meant to be the greatest magician who ever walked this city, this country, this realm. This is not the end of Gregory or Margus the Magnificent. I want to pull out that other scroll.
Let's go. Okay. You pull out the other scroll. The same chill goes down your spine as you unroll it. The room even seems to darken. Seems like the temperature goes down, and with all that description, it almost seems like you can kind of pick out some of the words again, but really as you get to the end, you see the final words that says, "Speak to the Fury, and you will be answered."
Fury, I deserve your power. Give it to me. Make me a powerful magician that will make those who laughed at me pay.
A darkness in the room. You look down and a small circle begins to grow, and it glows a deep crimson red. It spirals out in every direction. Several runes, all of this language written on your scroll, and a portal opens up. You can hear from the portal the sounds of pain and suffering, the sounds of those who have seemingly entered into a place of ultimate despair. As you look down in the hole, you can see a large figure covered in black, thick hair. Its eyes glowing red. It stands on 2 feet, almost ape-like, and he begins to ascend, rising slowly towards the entrance of the hole that you're peering into. And at that moment, Ethan, I would like you to introduce your real character.
From the rubble, the top hat starts to rise, and brown sandy fur begins to stand up beneath it, but much larger than Fluffy the rabbit. This creature stands up very tall, adjusts the top hat on its head with 2 large ears poking around it. Um, is there anything around me that's sharp?
Make a perception check.
All right. That would be a 14.
Yes, there are a couple throwing knives in your area that are easily accessible.
Righto. I'd like to pick one of them up, and while this idiot is distracted, as I see, I'm not sure where it came from, but this large creature rising from the floor, I want to go up and stab him in the kidneys. Something I've wanted to do for a long time, but was too small to do. And right before I do it, I'm going to say, listen, mate, I don't like to be called Fluffy. And I stab him in the kidney. The name is Varric. And I give it a twist. To Greg's back.
This scene unfolds. This figure rises up and locks eyes with the magician Gregory. And at first, Gregory's eyes are filled with fear, and then awe, and then confidence as he realizes the power he's about to obtain, and then suddenly pain as he looks down, and the knife is literally in his back, in his kidneys, and he looks even farther still and sees a rabbit in a hat. And as he bleeds and falls to the ground, suddenly, Varric, in this moment of success, you achieve a chill down your spine as this creature sees you and says to you,
I accept your offering. If power is what you want, I shall grant it to you. Only for a lifetime of servitude to me, the Fury.
I pull the dagger out of Greg and kind of look at the blood on it. Well, mate, looks like I'm out of the job. I'll take it.
and he just absolutely palms your skull. Even though you've grown some, he palms your skull and lifts it up to his height. The smell is unbearable. His fur just smells like a combination of rotted flesh and sweat. And he locks eyes with you, and as he does, his eyes lock with yours and connect in a glowing red light, and you feel power surging through you. It feels like you're growing even more still, and he sets you down, and he simply begins,
I have a task for you, little one.
Not so little anymore, I think. What is it?
he kneels down and he says,
To you, I am big, and to me, you are little. Go to
I tip my hat.
Go to this tavern.
and he smacks your hand and sears something on it. Instead of drawing it with pen, he basically sears something on it. It says, the Leaky Tiki.
Go there
Like
and
it.
find a man
Righto.
named Rolf. He's going to need your help, and I think you'll do just fine.
And then he begins to descend back down into that hole.
Just a second, mate, if you would. If I'm going to serve you, you're going to need some payment, I assume. Might I suggest, is Greg still alive?
He is bleeding out watching all of this happen.
Might you have some sort of contract or kind of template I could use? I think this imbecile here might be a good first go.
Yes, your historical knowledge, to your understanding, even as now an awakened, is that from what you've seen and observed from Gregory. And Gregory goes places and does things. And when he does so because he has a contract. And he makes people sign that contract, and sometimes he signs that contract. Everything he does is typically under contract. So knowing that knowledge, you assume that a quid pro quo involves a contract, and this being says,
I like your style, little one. Yes, let's call it a contract. You continuously send me souls to feed on, and I will grant you more and more power.
So, Greg, I'm not going to call you Marcus. I'm not going to call you magnificent. I don't think you're either. I think you're dirt. However, really, I think you should have stuck to law, because all those contracts you had, I mean, really top-notch work. I learned a lot. I got to hand it to you. Thank you for that. I just think you should sign here. And can I kind of like make a contract, and this doesn't have to be it, Greg. You could have the power that you're seeking, and all you gotta do is sign on the dotted line. I want to see if I can use my legendary action.
yes.
Strength of, or let's see, where is it? Here. Or your final trick. And I would like to try to persuade him to sign a contract committing his loyalty to me and my patron.
Yes. Go ahead and roll a let's do an intimidation for this particular.
Intimidation.
As you just stabbed him in the kidney. And I will take a look at Craig's sheet, as I also have it on my end.
All right, that's a dirty 20.
That'll do it. Let me roll something here. All right. With little resistance, he reaches out with his finger dipped in his own blood and begins to sign his name on the dotted line, swearing his loyalty to you.
All right, thanks. I kind of zip up the contract, put it, I guess, in my fur. I'm not wearing any clothes, I assume. Actually, I'll put it in my top hat and set on his top hat. I give like the rim kind of a little thing. Thanks for the cat bite, and I head off to the Leaky Tiki and leave him there. I will pump some hit points into him so that he doesn't die. I'll pump. Let's see. I'll pump 10 hit points into him.
All right, so mechanically he slowly stops bleeding out and has 10 hit points and just kind of looks around. And as you leave, unfortunately, Fury looks at him and says,
Here's the thing. Some debts I like to collect later. But I'm hungry now.
And he grabs his leg and pulls him into this hole as the runes begin to fade. And as the runes begin to fade, the hole begins to get smaller and smaller as the runes fade away.
Righto. And I jump up, click my heels together, and head off. Do I know where the Leaky Tiki Tavern is?
You have no idea, but you've got a good feeling. You kind of jump out, and there are lots of people going up and down the streets. You can talk to them if you'd like to try to get some information.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll find like a street kid, like a dirty kind of like beat up street kid maybe to ask. I feel like I'd be a little more comfortable talking to them than
Yeah,
somebody else.
make a perception check.
Gosh, I've been rolling 9s all night. Perception. Okay, so that's a 12.
All right, so you actually see a familiar little figure. Apparently, you had someone following you home. The same little boy who thought Gregorson, the Magnificent, was cool, now sees a little rabbit and is just kind of awestruck. But you actually recognize him because you were there with Greg when this little boy saw this all happen.
Hi, Mike. Come here for a sec.
He kind of wanders up to you, completely dumbfounded as to what's going on.
Yeah?
Listen, I need a little bit of information. I was wondering if you knew where to find the Leaky Tiki Tavern.
Oh,
It would do me, a magician of some renown, a great deal of help. And I will
it's amazing.
Minor illusion, just like 3 like glowing balls of light that appear, and I start like juggling them in front of them. And then I'll take off my top hat and catch all 3, stick it back onto my head.
Yeah, my dad goes there a lot when he gets in trouble with my mom. So I can show you where it is because I have to go tell him it's time to come home. So I can show you where that is right away. Like, follow me.
That'd be great. Just on a curiosity, does your dad spend a lot of time there?
Well, he did, but then my mother said it was me or the bar, and then he stopped going so much because she says that she's his everything.
Right, that's good. That's good, love and all. All right. Well, I was just maybe hoping for a chance to meet him, but another time, perhaps. Let's away.
Yeah,
And
maybe you could come over for dinner sometime. That would be great.
What's your name, kid?
My name... I have a name that's obvious.
Sure you do.
Ben. Created by...
Ben?
No, yes, Ben.
The name's Ben.
My name's Ben.
That's a great name, Ben. I would love to come to your house someday. For now, let's check out that tavern.
Okay, right this way.
And he leads you through some shortcuts and alleyways and back ways, and you can follow right in suit. And he presents you to the Leaky Tiki.
You go right on in. It's everything is right in there. That's the Leaky Tiki.
All right, thank you. Wish I had something to give you, but perhaps friendships. Priceless, eh?
Yeah, you're my best
Ow.
friend.
Right, and as a best friend, you never saw me. I give him a wink. And,
Scout's honor.
yeah, kid. Off you go. And, I send him on his way and head in.
You head in, and it's actually by this time where it's pretty bare. It's early in the morning. The breakfast crowd at this time, after an 8-hour ritual, is only starting to show up. You have the faithful, the old timers of every local thing. There's 3 or 4 of them sitting in a corner to the left, starting off with hot piping cups of coffee. A little something extra in there to get them through their day, if you know what I mean. And then in the corner, you see a much bigger, burly-looking man with long red hair and a big, just frenzied red beard.
Where's he at?
He's to the right. The old men are on the left. He's to the right. Straight ahead is the open bar.
Can I first I want to just kind of take it in and listen, and kind of want to gauge their reaction to seeing me. I'll try to kind of keep myself up as straight as possible, but I haven't like been out, in public yet. Just gonna, if they're cool with it, have they seen some weird stuff? Like I don't know what they're maybe like an insight check just to see the vibe
Yeah, go ahead,
as I
make an
kind of
insight
walk
check.
in. Okay. Seven.
It seems like everyone is fine.
All right. Well, one thing I
I will
learned from
say
Gregory is
a-
that you always treat new people as if they like you.
That's
So I
correct.
just assume that they must love me.
They do love you, as far as you can tell. A female dragonborn in sort of a like the front end of a long day's uniform approaches you and says, "Hello, love. It'll be how many a table for ya?"
Just me and a friend. Wondering if was his name Ralph?
Yeah, Rolf.
Rolf. Looking for a friend of mine, Rolf. Have you seen him?
I don't know if I know any Rolfs, but I can tell you that these people over here come in every morning since they was, look, as young as you and me, and that fellow over there is a bit new. If I'd take a wager and you're sure he's here, I'd guess that one.
Right. Well, thank you, miss. And I hop over to the big red beard guy.
He sees you and says, he just kind of looks at you and, "Can I help you?"
Yeah. I kind of plop in the chair, kind of jump up, maybe stand on my legs a little bit, so I'm up to the table. I think I only stand like 4.5 feet tall, so politely take my hat off, set it on the table. Rolf, is it?
Who's asking?
Well, not me. Today's your lucky day. I was sent here to help you.
And what are you supposed to help me with, little furry thing?
Careful. You're going to want to be careful, mate. I'm here to help, trying to be polite. Let me introduce myself. My name's Varric. I don't really know what I'm supposed to help you with. I was just told to come here and offer my services.
Who sent you? And you better be very careful how you answer that.
Can I look around to see if anyone's listening to us?
Yep.
Okay.
Perception.
All right. Dude, this is unreal. I've never rolled so bad in my life. That is a 6. A 3.
A few guards enter the room, start looking around. But as far as you can tell, yeah, there's no threats.
Well, I've just had a bit of a change of career. And my new boss likes to call himself Fury.
Well, it seems like
Does that
your
ring any bells?
boss and my boss may go back a bit. Which means,
Is that
yeah,
so?
you probably been sent to help me and be a part of my little crew. We got a big job coming up, and I could probably use... Actually, your size and capabilities might be exactly what we need.
Righto. What do you got for me?
How you feel about a prison break? And that is where we will end our session.
Cool, dude. That was fun.
I had a blast in that. Solid stuff. Appreciate Mr. Ethan joining us at the table from now on. This is the last of the prologue episodes. So if you're listening to this and you made it all the way through, congratulations. Love it. Sign up for that Patreon, friends, because we are going to need a lot of heroes that stand in the way of these now 4 evildoers that the man killed up-and-coming musician. Someone stop this rabbit, please. Thank you. And I'm honestly glad that we skipped over the landlord, because I was a little worried. I hope he forgets about the landlord.
I don't forget about anything.
Oh dear.
Oh, just a little bit.
But we'll say that that's the end of this episode. Thanks again. Check us out on Patreon. Anywhere else you can find us, including but not limited to Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Patreon, and Twitch. Nights at the Nerd Table on most of those, or TKNT_3. And I'm super excited to welcome Ethan to the table, playing Varric, not Fluffy.
Not Fluffy. Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks for having me, man. And keep watching, guys.
Yep, it's going to be fun. All right. Cool. Peace.